season really is a roller coaster, isn't it? This episode I would put in lines with the first episode, mainly because there's not a lot going on within this episode, but it's enough that we get the general message. So the episode pretty much begins after the events of the second episode where Jack gets injured and he's basically floating through the river while injured. He's able to find shelter inside of a cave and he's able to tend to his wounds, but that's mainly also because of this wolf that we also see during the second episode that was also fighting his own tough battle. Which is something I did not expect them to do. I did not expect them to have this allegory with the wolf and Jack and then have both characters meet together. Nothing major happens from it, of course. They're both just two wounded loners who end up finding some kind of camaraderie with one another and helping each other tend to each other's wounds. But then we also get a flashback to Jack's past where it shows his father having to defend himself and kill, people and otherwise. And his father pretty much tells him that Jack's actions determined who he is. And that's pretty much where Jack is affected by the fact that he killed an actual human from one of the daughters of Aku, but at this point in time, he accepts the fact that he did this, and he knows that he needs to do that if he's gonna have to kill again if he wants to defend himself and stay alive. Honestly, I kind of like this because I know some people will say Jack's sudden, being affected by killing a human and then being willing to defend himself is a little bit of a sudden change, but let's be fair about this. In his current situation, he needs to make a decision fast. Is he going to fight? Is he going to run? Is he going to let himself die? He had to make a decision quick, and he made his decision. It meant having to kill the rest of the daughters of Aku, yes, but you want to know what? To stay alive, he had to do whatever it takes, and he pretty much did whatever it took because we got a really cool battle against the remaining members of the daughters of Aku. And that's really the episode in a nutshell, really. Jack's injured, he tends to his wounds along with the wolf, he fights the daughters of Aku, the end. That's really the episode in a nutshell. So, the one thing that I can give this episode is that visually, this episode is really cool, and there were a lot of ooh kind of moments that I was feeling throughout the entirety of the episode. Seeing some of the other members of the daughters of Aku getting killed, or even Jack tending to his injuries, like taking a bone with freaking tree bark to turn it into an impromptu suture, oh, I don't think I could ever do that in real life. So all in all, what do I think about this episode? Definitely a good episode, but honestly, I like the second episode more than I like this one. I would rank this one in the same area as the first episode. Not a lot going on for the most part, but still enough that it's a really fun episode to watch and a very action-packed episode near the end. I was super afraid they were going to cliffhanger this episode, and I'm glad they didn't. And the ending, while a bit silly, it is Samurai Jack. Let's be honest. Samurai Jack can be both serious and silly at times. So I think this is a nice little change of pace when it comes to the other episodes, because we had a really, we had a catch-up episode, then we had the second episode, which was build up, then break down, and then this one was, recuperate and then, come back. I guess that, if that makes any sense. So all in all, yeah, I like this episode. I prefer the previous episode a little more, but this one I definitely like for several reasons. Oh, and by the way, Jack Psyche coming in to talk about how he's never killed a human, totally saw that coming. And that's my speed impressions on Samurai Jack XCIV.